Hey everybody, it's Andy. I see you found my YouTube channel and welcome to my live office hours where on Thursday at 11 a.m. for the next handful of Thursdays, 11 a.m. Central in the US, I'm going to be offering career and job search advice and answering your questions. Now today, we're going to talk about common job interview questions and answers. And more specifically, we're going to talk about the dreaded tell me about yourself. And the reason I chose that one is thanks to all of you on my email subscription and my YouTube subscribers. Thanks for the thousands of emails I get from you constantly asking me to shoot this video. So today we're going to do it together live. Now, I want to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name's Andy LaCivita. I'm the founder of Mile Walk and the Mile Walk Academy, an award-winning author of The Hiring Prophecies and Interview Intervention. And I've made it my mission in life to help you succeed in your careers. It's the first thing I think about when I jump out of bed in the morning after I hug my wife. Now, my contact information, my blog site, my training site, all that good stuff is in the description in this live stream. And you can check that out at a later time. But also in the description is 2 great giveaways just as a thanks for stopping by today to help you in your job interviewing. The first one is an ebook. It's called Ace Your Job Interview. Master the best answers to the 14 most effective job interview questions. It's got what I consider to be the 14 most effective questions that an employer can ask you, 43 variations of those questions, why the employer asks the questions, what the employer is looking for, and the very best responses. So I think you'll really enjoy that. The second thing that I have is a very popular job interviewing webinar called 3 Keys to Ace Any Job Interview. It's 1 solid hour. I don't shut up. I keep talking. It's solid hour of teaching. It's everything you want to know about how to answer and ask questions in a job interview. So I hope you take me up on that. Both of those are free. Grab them now or grab them later. If you're not with us live, you can grab them in the recording, but they're yours just as a thank you. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the tell me about yourself question. And I know it's an awful question and most people absolutely cringe when they get it. But I want to talk about what's happening when you get that question. It's a really bad question for a couple of reasons, for 2 reasons. Number 1, the employer, it's a lazy question, it's ineffective, there's no guarantee that they're going to get what they need in order to make a determination about whether you're a good fit for their organization. And turning control over to you early on into the interview is not a great way to elicit that information. Really, really effective interviewers, they have well thought out and well designed questions that elicit specific information that they need in order to make good hiring decisions. So that's the first part. But they're going to ask those questions, and the least you can do is be ready for it. But the second thing that's really a problem with this question is it puts you in jeopardy of falling over one of the greatest tripwires in a job interview. And I actually shot a video about this a few months back called the number 1 reason why you do not get hired. And you can check that out. But the number 1 reason why you do not get hired is you were not effective in mapping your fit and your value and your qualifications to what the employer needs at this moment. So think about this for a second. You're fabulous. I know you're fabulous. The employers know you're fabulous. They've said so by inviting you in for an interview or a phone screen or whatever it might be. They've said you are qualified on paper. They also said that about all the other job candidates. They're qualified on paper too. But maybe only one or a few of you are going to get the job. And the person, he or she, who can best map their qualifications and skills to what the employer needs at this moment is the one who's going to get the job. So you need to map your fit, your value, and your qualifications to what it is that they need. But they've likely opened up because you likely get this question in the beginning of the interview. They've put you on this green pasture and you're not quite sure. What I would rather they do is say, hey, you know what? Hey, here's a list of my demands. Here's what we need. Here's all the skills. Here's all the qualifications. Here's all the experience. And hand it to you and say, hey, Mrs. Job Candidate, can you just tell me how you satisfy all of these requirements? We'd be better off if we did that, but we don't do that. We want to be cute. We want to ask these ridiculous questions like, tell me about yourself. and then we leave you to your own devices. So knowing that they're going to ask you this, or that they're likely going to ask you this, there are a few options I'm going to give you today for how to handle it. It's a few variations depending on the situation. Number one, the number one best, it's my favorite way to address this issue, this question or request, is if they ask you to tell me about yourself, what I would do is, to make sure that I didn't start speaking before I absolutely knew what it was that they needed to know, I would ask them. I would ask. Option one is ask them. Say, hey, Mr. Lazy Job Interview Man, my background is long and diverse. Is there any particular aspect of my background you'd like me to discuss so that you would know whether or not I'm a good fit for your position? Just ask them. All right, let's pause for a quick second, because I know there's probably a whole bunch of you out there just crazy. You go, oh my God, Andy, I can't answer a question with a question. Let's talk about this. You know what's worse than you than you answering that question with a question is you talking for 10 minutes about something that's so fabulous in your work life that has absolutely nothing to do with what it is that they need. So I would rather you field this question. You take 10 seconds and just ask that question. Is there any particular part of my background that would be helpful for you to know that I could discuss for you to determine if I'm a good fit? So that's what I would do. You're not breaking the momentum of the interview. It's just getting started. You're just getting warmed up, right? They probably asked you this first, and just ask. Now, what's more important to talk about when you ask questions? This is Andy's rules of job interviewing. At any moment, any time in the job interview, if you ask a question of any kind, I don't care what it is. If you're in your section of the interview where you're asking all your questions, or you ask this question up front, or you're asking questions along the way, the most important thing about asking questions is anticipating all the possible responses that an employer can give you. Now, the great thing about asking this question up front, about having them pinpoint you into an area into your background that you can answer this question, is there's only two possible outcomes. So, hey, Mr. Lazy Job Interviewer, is there any particular part of my background you'd like me to discuss so that you could determine whether I'm a good fit for the job? The only two outcomes here are yes, there is, or no, there's not. So let's take yes, there is first. If they say yes, there is, I would like you to focus on this. You're golden. You're golden. Just off you go. Answer, tell your stories. That's option one. But they might say no. If they say no, then you're not really any better off than you were a minute ago, but you've gone through the asking process. Then what I would do is, here's your pro tip. Make sure you have the job description with you when you go in. Hopefully you print that out and have it with you and say, okay, if there's nothing in particular you'd like me to share, then based on the job description that I see, here's all the skills and requirements and experiences that are important for the person in this job to be successful. So I'm going to relay my background to you as it relates to this job description, and then off you go. So that's another option. But by asking the question first, you're verifying what they need to know. And I would always rather you be sure before you start walking down a path and get lost. Okay, that's option one with a couple variations. Option two. Okay, for all of you out there that absolutely do not want to answer a question with a question, that's fine. I've got a little something for you. Then what I would do is I would just go into my little trick about, okay, here's the job description. Based on the job description, it looks like these skills, requirements, and so on are what you need. Let me walk you through my background as it matches the job description, and off you go. That's option two. All right. I know some of you are saying, well, I've been in job interviews and I don't have the job description. They didn't post one. I know the title, and the company was a small company. They didn't have a job description. Okay, here's another pro tip. So option three, you don't want to ask the question up front to clarify, and you don't have the job description. Now what do? This is a good one. You just say, okay, I'm going to make an assumption here. You are in a job interview because you have some kind of idea of what the job entails, and they have some kind of idea of you because they've seen your resume or cover letter or whatever, and they've invited you in for this discussion. What you say, if you don't want to ask the question, is, okay, Mr. Lazy Job Interview Man, I'm assuming that the job entails this, and the most important skills and qualities in a job applicant are these, so I'm going to share my background with you as it relates to that, and then off you go. Now, if you are incorrect in your assumption, 99, if not 100% of the job interviewers will stop you, and they'll say, well, as a matter of fact, the most important elements of this job are, and they will fix it for you. And they will clarify it for you. So now that's a way to elicit a response from them without asking a question and making sure that you're on the right track. But you have to announce it before you dive in. That's the key. You have to tell them what's going on in your head and why you're going to answer it the way you're going to answer it. If you don't do that, they don't know where your story's going. So you don't have the job description. You don't want to ask the question. You announce, here's what I think the job entails, and here's what I think would be the most important skills for me to share with you so you could make a good choice about whether or not I'm a good fit. So I'm going to tell you my background as it relates to that, and they will either stop you and correct you, or they will not say anything. At that moment, if they don't say anything, you can assume you're in good shape and just keep going and give them the answers. All right, so you got three things here. You can ask the question up front about focusing them in onto your background. If they don't focus you, use the job description and say, here's what I think. And if you don't have a job description, announce what you think the most important skills and qualities and experiences are, and then discuss your background. And if they intercept you along the way, you'll be in good shape because they'll fix it. So those are three things. Now, what I haven't done for you at this moment is tell you exactly how to answer and tell the stories. But if you take my Ace Your Job ebook with the 14 to how to answer the 14 most effective job interview questions, I have scripts in there of the best answers. And if you attend the job interviewing webinar, I talk at length about how to tell stories and responses that make you believable, likable, and memorable. So you can grab those for free, because otherwise I'd be talking for 2 hours here, and I want to take your questions. So I hope that was helpful. Let me look at the chat. And one of the things that I want to mention, folks, I noticed that we sent a lot of emails to my subscriber group. There are many tens of thousands of people on that list, and we did get some pre-chat questions. When we noticed when we were setting this up and we were refreshing that those disappear anytime we refresh the browser. So I did type in the chat. I apologize. I know there were a number of them. If you are one of those people and you've seen my chat, just please go enter your question in there, and I will be happy to answer it. And for anybody who does not get a chance, or I do not get a chance to answer your questions, put them in the comments. This live stream will be available for you on a recorded basis. You can go in there and comment away, and I respond to everybody that comments on my YouTube videos, folks. And if you don't believe me, you can go check my other videos. And if you're somebody who's sent me a request in the last day or so, it just means I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will. I'm usually pretty good. I try to get to you the day of or the next day. So I hope that helps, and I hope you're enjoying those responses. The first one that I see is Vicky Kane. Hey, Vicky, thanks for being here. I hope you're here with me live. I don't know exactly how many of you are here. Oh, a lot of you are here with me. Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you. All right, Vicky Kane. Vicky Kane asks, my husband is looking for a job in another state we want to relocate in. He hasn't been on an interview in 25 years, so I'm assuming good for him that he's been working at a company that he likes, or maybe he just gets plucked quickly. He is 59 years old. How can he make his age an asset? So a couple of things here. I'll just repeat the question for fluency. My husband is looking for a job in another state we want to relocate in. He hasn't been on an interview in 25 years. He is 59. How can he make his age an asset? So I'm going to give you a number of things that kind of a little 3-4 step formula here that I would do. Number one, tell your husband at 59 that, and by the way, this is a preview. My video coming out next Tuesday morning at 6:30 a.m. Central Time is for people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s on maximizing their interviewing process. So Vicki Kane, step number 1 is on Tuesday morning, there's a video just for you and your husband with 3 great tactics that he should use. That's 1, so check that video out. Number 2, just like anybody, it doesn't matter what your age is, whether you're 29, 39, 49, or 59. It isn't about making your age an asset. It is about making your experience the asset, and it is about making your fit into the company culturally, its personality, and all those other things an asset. So you want to make sure that you take what I just said to heart. You want to make sure that he's mapping his qualifications to what the employer needs. So if he has a job description or he has some highlights of what that employer is looking for, he needs to literally go down the list and map how does he satisfy each of those requirements. And my guess is if he's been working for 35, 40 years, whatever it is, he's got a lot of experience with what those employers are looking for. And it doesn't matter if it's in another state, as long as that organization is willing to relocate you or you are willing to relocate on your own. I don't think it will be a problem. The issue that I think is more present isn't his age, it's his lack of interviewing in the last 25 years. He's probably a little rusty. He doesn't know the types of questions that they're likely to ask him. But honestly, if you comb my YouTube channel and you look for the videos that I have a whole playlist on job interviewing tips. I have a free webinar that is super solid. These are all free. Go out there and check them out. And I really think that'll help him. Okay, Andrea Carl Vasallo. Welcome, Andrea. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Andrew, I would just like to thank you with your resume video as I have found a summer job. Can we all get a shout out for Andrea? I am so glad. Thank you for letting me know that. I love to hear from you guys. I know some of you email me, you comment on the videos, or you comment on my blog. Some of you send me private emails. Some of you are in my courses, and I love to hear it. So I'm so glad. Shay Jose says, hi, Andrew, you're awesome. Thank you. Can you help my husband as a laborer? He has an offshore deckhand experience. I'm having trouble with wording his career profile. Okay, so Shay, couple things. With the career profile, one of the things that you want to do in the career profile, so the first thing that I would do is I would watch my free video on how to build the ultimate professional resume, and there is a template in that video that you can download for free. It's not just a template. So I called it a template, but template is a little bit of a misnomer because it's the template and the instructions with how to fill out each of the sections. Now, it's a free offering, so it's not as detailed as some of my paid offerings, but that's the place that I would start. And the areas that you want to get into the profile. So for all of you that are putting your resume together, and I'm talking about, so if you're not a college student and you're a professional, whether you've been working 1 day or 100 days or 50 years, it doesn't make any difference. You should have a career profile at the top of your resume. That's what Shay is talking about. It's a Reader's Digest version of who you are. And this is one of the greatest keys in getting your resume noticed. It's the second spot reviewers' eyes go to right after your name. They're looking for a digest or some executive summary of who you are. That executive summary should include what you are. So in his case, he is a seasoned offshore deckhand. That might be the first thing that I see, with X number of years of experiencing performing these types of duties. He's worked for organizations such as, in the types of companies, and then whatever it is that he's done, and then whatever your particular skills are. So your core competencies, or your particular domain experience, or your subject matter expertise, or whatever that is. You want to get all of that into the profile. And one other thing that I have coming out, here's a little announcement that nobody has seen this yet. I actually was working on it yesterday. Is a free resume webinar, and this webinar is called 3 secrets to getting your resume noticed. It's free. It'll be free. It'll be coming out in a week or so. And I would take advantage of that. Make a little note. If you're not on my email subscription list, get on it so that you can see the announcements. I don't post these things on YouTube. These things go out in a private email to my subscribers. So Shay, I hope that helps. Let me see. Share. Stefan Zarecki. Hello, Mr. LaCivita. I would like to let you know you are a resourceful individual. Thank you. So much so, in fact, your videos have helped me keep my calm while building my resume. Thank you. You people are going to make me cry. And don't do that on my live office hours. Thank you very much. I love to hear it. You are welcome. I'm glad I can do that for you. I really am. Okay, I'm trying. Kara, can you help me? I don't know if this is is that all the questions that we have anymore? Let me see. I'm typing here. Hey man, this is live. Okay, anybody else? You got anything you want? I'm happy to go another 10 minutes or so. If not, that's fine. But please let me know if there's anything that you need. Hey Ankit, how you doing? Hey, by the way, Ankit is a great guy. This guy has been in a number of my programs. I hope they're going well for you, buddy. I love the encouragement that you give others. And by the way, folks, that's a big part of being a community for me, for us, and not just my students who are in my training programs in the Mile Walk Academy, which is my training site, which I think I might fail to mention in detail, but the camaraderie that you develop with each other, not just in those paid programs, but on my YouTube channel or on my blog, it is really, you should leverage my community for encouragement and ideas. So, I really hope that you help each other out. That's what part of this is all about. And while I provide this instruction, some of it's free and some of it's paid, all of you can encourage each other. And that I would really hope. Hey, Leona, how are you? It says, hi, Andrew. I have a phone interview tomorrow. How many questions should I ask? That is an awesome question, Leona. Thank you for that. So, folks, a lot of you I know have phone interviews to start. So let's talk a little bit about phone interviews. So let's talk about interviews in general. And then we'll talk specifically about phone interviews because it really applies to a phone interview. Whenever you have an interview, the most important thing about an interview at any moment, when you get a phone screen, a face-to-face, a group interview, whatever it is, the most important aspect in an interview is to sell yourself. So the first order of business is to make sure that the employer likes you. So whatever you got to do to sell yourself, if the employer likes you, it's going to make the rest of the process go a heck of a lot smoother. That's number one. Now, part number two is you've got to gather information from the employer to make sure that it's a good place for you to work. But that is secondary, and the reason it's secondary is because you could go through your entire interviewing process. If you don't have all of your questions asked that you need to get answered or asked and answered, most employers, virtually every one of them, will be happy to take whatever time is necessary to answer your questions. So you want to make sure that you're selling first and asking questions second. But asking really great questions is super important. It's super important. And that, by the way, that job interview webinar that I mentioned, 3 Keys to Ace Any Job Interview, for those who attend that, I have a giveaway ebook in that one called How to Interview the Employer, 75 great questions to ask before you take any job. So there's 75 of them that you can use to start. Now, Leona's question about the phone interview, you definitely, number one, as far as questions, you never want to run out of questions. So you never want to run the risk of having too few questions where the interviewer could possibly say to you, do you have any more questions? Your answer should never be no. So you want to make sure that you've got a good 20 or 30 questions already designed to make sure that you have enough. You don't have to get all of them answered. But what I would do is I would check first to make sure you know how much time you have left when they give you an opportunity to ask those questions. And if they say, hey, we've got 10 more minutes, ask me as many questions as you want, or however that might go, say, okay, I have a number of questions. I will pick a handful of the most important questions and then start going through them. So the question isn't how many questions should you ask. I would prepare a few, 3 dozen questions, because that's how many it's going to take to know whether or not the employer is good for you. However many you get to is the magic number in the phone interview. Now, one of the other things that I teach in that free job interviewing webinar is how to organize your questions. You should have buckets of questions. So you should organize them by company, by role, by boss or interviewer, so that they're grouped, so you can ask them in a nice pre-defined sequence, and you're asking them from the top down. It also depends on who you're interviewing with, and in the phone screen, it depends on whether you're interviewing with the human resources professional or the recruiter, or whether you're interviewing with the person who's specifically hiring for that job. There's a lot of variations there, but your specific question about how many questions to ask, as many as you can. Just make sure you never run out. Okay, Stefan retracted his question. Lucy retracted her question. Kara posted one. Nima posted a question that I saw, and we couldn't figure out what it was. So Nima, thanks for this one. Should the interviewee include personal details like birthplace, hobbies, etc., or stick to describing characteristics that would help in a job like diligent, responsible, and team player? You never, as in never, should include personal details like birthplace or things of that nature. Anything, race, religion, age, anything of that nature, you do not need to disclose it. The employer should not be asking you those questions, not legally anyway. If you want to discuss hobbies, I would only discuss hobbies if you know that you and the interviewer have the same hobbies, or if they bring it up. I would stick to the skills and qualifications, your fit, your value, and all that good stuff as it relates to the job directly. If your discussion strays into other areas because the interviewer takes you there, then that's okay. But I would not bring up those details ever, Nima. So hopefully you don't do that. Tamara, hey Tamara, how are you? Hope all is great. Oh, you guys are coming. Oh, sorry, I've started to read that and then you're popping up. Tamara says, I am in the process of moving to another state because I can't find a job in my career where I currently live. How should I notify possible employers about my relocation before I actually move? Awesome question. Awesome question. I should do a video about this one. That is a fantastic, fantastic question. So I'm going to reread it, and then to recap what we want to talk about here. So Tamara is moving to another state because she can't currently find a job in the state she's in. She wants to know how to notify employers about her relocation. So what I would do is look for opportunities that are in the city that you're moving. I would also, when you submit your resume and you submit either your cover letter or your email intro or the notes that you can put in the applicant tracking system, let them know that you are moving to their location as of whatever the date is. I would definitely put it in the cover letter. That will make you attractive to them. It will also make them feel as though you are already there. So if you've already decided to move, you've eliminated one of the barriers for them, or one of the costs for them, which is the cost to relocate you. So actually, that would be fantastic. Just let them know up front that you are moving, and that you either have moved, or you are there, or you will be there next week or next month or whenever it is. And what they might do is they might want to get the process going early with phone interviews, and if that goes well, then they might ask you to come in as it's closer to your move date, or they might fly you in or something like that. But it's about letting them know in your emails, in your intros, in your cover letters. And the other thing is, if you know what town you're going to be in, so let's say you were moving to my hometown, Chicago, but you weren't here yet and you didn't have the address, but you knew you were moving next month or something like that, you can just put relocating to and then the city, or you could even just put Chicagoland or something like that. So when they open up their resume, they'll know. That is a great question, Tamara. Thank you so much for that one. And these are all great questions, by the way, but some of these are tricky. Lucy asked, I have a phone screen tomorrow and my confidence is up because of your posts. Thank you. You are welcome. It is within my company, which can be a positive, but can also mean that they expect more, but I'm ready. Thank you. Lucy, I'm so glad that you are getting more confident. I'm actually, folks, getting a lot of emails from people that their confidence is better, and that's a big part of job interviewing well, is being confident and just being confident in your ability. And it doesn't come across as arrogant, but that you just have confidence in yourself. And I'm glad I can contribute to that. And I hope that, the techniques are great, but I really hope your confidence is high. That's a really big key. All right, Ankit. Hey, buddy. Glad to see you here. I had a phone interview. Ankit asked, I have a phone interview recently, and the interview asked me at the end of the interview why you want to leave your company when this is the right time to give back to your company. So, couple of things, and as if I had a little more time, I could probably craft a little bit better response. I want to break that into two pieces. Number one, folks, and Ankit in particular, no one can tell you when the right time to give back to your company is. Now, I don't want you to necessarily say that to him in the interview. What I would do, that's between you guys and me. Okay, no one can tell you what to feel. No one can tell you what to like. No one can tell you what you should do. You have to figure that out for yourself. There's a process you can go through. But if somebody said that to me, what I would do is, by the way, you are going to get asked, why do you want to leave your current company? Or why would you leave your current company? Or why have you left your current company? And in that Ace Your Job Interview book, I actually reviewed that particular question. Now, the best way to respond to that particular question, the way he or she phrased it, is, I have been giving back to my organization for however long it's been. Hopefully you've been there a few years. But the reason that I want to leave is I'm looking for these particular growth opportunities which I'm unable to get at my current organization but which your organization seems to provide based on the research that I've done and the job description and so on. Now, whenever you are asked that question for anybody, the real trick in answering that question effectively is, if you are leaving for career development reasons or something of that nature, you need to make sure that your answer in no way reflects something you could do to fix your problem. So specifically, if you're leaving for career development reasons because you're not being given an opportunity that truly exists within your company, the interviewer could misconstrue that you're either not doing a great enough job, or you are not taking control of your career into your own hands aggressively enough, and that you're not doing everything that you possibly could to get into those roles from an extracurricular standpoint or whatever it might be. So the growth opportunity that you need to highlight needs to be something that your current company cannot solve. So for example, just off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's a million good ones, let's say you are working and you are a salesperson and you are selling your products or services domestically, but your aspiration is to sell it internationally or globally. If your organization only sells its products domestically and you want to get international experience, and this opportunity provides that, you could say, one of the reasons that I'd like to leave is I'm looking for growth opportunities and I would like to do more international work. My current organization is currently solely domestic, so that opportunity is not present there, but your job offers that. And that's why I'd want to leave. So the trick is, you've got to map it to something that new opportunity, it's not just why do you want to leave the current company? Why do you want to leave your current company, and why do you want to come here? You need to answer both of those questions. So I hope that helps, buddy. And if you, Ankit, if you need more, hit me in the training or email me. Okay, Shelly. Hey, Shelly. If interview continues to talk, is it okay just to sit and listen? I don't want to seem uncommunicative. Okay, that's a fantastic question. You know what? We don't get that one a lot in our webinars. So, just so you guys know, I don't know if you know this or not, but whoever talks more in the interview thinks it went better. So, I'm actually not kidding. So if the interviewer is talking a lot, the first thing that you need to do is identify what he or she is saying, which, Shelly, you didn't mention, but the interviewer is either talking a lot because they're sharing about the company and they're doing a little bit of selling on, you on the opportunity, and that's great. What you don't want to do is you don't want to interrupt somebody who's on a roll, especially when they're trying to sell you. So it's okay to be patient. There will present an opportunity somewhere along the way for you to chime in and say, okay, well, I'd love to share about me whatever you need to know so that you can know whether I'm a good fit. So just ask the question yourself and try to break it. But if they're going on for super long stretches, that would be a little bit of a concern because you want to make sure that you are getting, it also depends on how long the interview is. If it's 30 minutes, that's a little more harmful. If it's an hour, it's not as bad. If it's longer than that, then it's great to give and take. So it is okay to sit and listen, but you want to make sure that the interviewer does not go too long. Jeff Brew, how are you, buddy? Good to talk to you the other day. All right, many large companies list so many 6 to 8 plus core values of their company on their website. Is there a technique or advice you can give that demonstrates what core values are key to the role? So let me make sure I understand this question, Jeff. Is there a technique you can give that demonstrates what core values are key to the role? So actually, this is my answer for a lot of this stuff, is just ask. So I think, and by the way, Jeff, clarify if I didn't understand this. So what Jeff is saying is, when you go to these companies' websites, and I know what he means, a lot of the large companies, they have a lot of the different values that they want to elicit from their employees and give out to the world, and their beliefs, what their values are. If they have gone to the extent of listing them on their website, there's a couple things I would make absolute certain of. For anybody, if you see core values, principles, their mission, whatever it might be, you need to write it down. And you need to make sure that you have examples in your background of how you satisfy and are in alignment with those core beliefs or values. You have to be ready for that, folks. It is paramount, because if those are their core beliefs, they are evaluating you on those things, all of them, 6 to 8. Now, if they've gone to the trouble of putting them on the website, they likely feel that those core beliefs and values and all that good stuff are paramount and foundational for every employee that works there. So my first answer would be, number one, make sure you have a story for every single one of them. How do you satisfy this core belief? That's how the question will be. It'll be pretty straightforward, and then you answer it. If you are, you know what? I don't even know that you need to siphon it down to the role, because I would assume that all of them are paramount to the role, but maybe some are a little bit more in alignment. But I would be ready for any and all of them, and 6 to 8 actually. By the way, 5 is the magical number. 5 or 6 is the magical number. As you start getting out, it gets a little harder. We had one client one time that had 27 of them. They were their foundational traits, which kudos to them. I think that's great. But most of them will have a half a dozen or so. Okay, Jeff, I hope that answered. And if it didn't, hit me with an email or in the training course. Tamara, you may also want to update your no. Oh, yes. Kara, great. Okay, so back to Tamara's relocation question. She was asking, how does she let future employers know the city she's moving to? And Kara mentioned, and that's great, that she should update her LinkedIn profile. That's a really, really good one. Michael Moody, hey, buddy. New subscriber here. Hey, great to have you. I hate the question of salary requirements and always afraid I would either price myself out of the running or get lowballed. Any ideas to build confidence? I do have ideas. So a couple things. So for Michael and everybody else, I have 2 videos that are on my YouTube channel, and there's a little playlist. It's called Salary Negotiation Tips. And not only do I have a playlist, but I am the king of giveaways. I've got a 1-page guide to negotiating your salary. So that's a video I would definitely watch. It's called How to Negotiate Your Salary After Job Offer, something like that. It's the first thing I would do for everybody who's got to do anything related to negotiating. And by the way, there's also a video out there that says your salary negotiation starts with your cover letter, not your job offer. And that is about how you build the momentum throughout the process. Because the more capital you build up along the way, the more negotiating leverage you're going to have at the end. Okay, but for Michael, the question that he's being asked, now you can be asked the question, I'm going to give you multiple answers here, buddy, depending on when they ask you the question. Actually, I'm going to give you 3 things here. Number 1, the first thing that you all are going to encounter regarding your salary requirements is you might be putting your resume in an applicant tracking system, and in those applicant tracking systems, they make you pick your salary. The salary you want to choose is the salary you currently earn. Do not worry about them holding you to that. They don't even know you yet. The computer doesn't even know you yet. If you make $50,000 a year and there is a required field, and that field is a drop down, it'll say 50,000 to 54,599, 55,000 to, and so on. You just select the box that is your current salary. If they give you an opportunity to free-form text it in, like write it in, type it in, then just put open or negotiable. That's what you do up front. When you get into the phone screen, first phone screen or first interview, and they ask you, what are your salary expectations? Which, by the way, is a totally stupid question because you know nothing about the job, the people, what you get to do, the benefit, all that stuff. What I want you to do in the beginning of the process, and folks, your stock is not highest in the beginning of the process. Theoretically, your stock should be the highest at the end of the process, and that's when you want to negotiate. So up front, what you want to do is you want to tell them, here's what I currently earn, and you can provide them that. This is what I earn. I would love to know more about the opportunity and what I get to do and who I get to do it with and the entire value of working here, which is all of those things. And money is one part of them, as are benefits and vacation and all that other good stuff, bonuses and so on. So I don't really know what that requirement is until I understand the rest of it. But I'm sure that if you and I are right for each other and we go through this wonderful interviewing process, that we will be able to come to something amenable at the end of the process. Okay, fast forward to the end. Now they're going to ask you, okay, Michael Moody, we love you. What do you want? Then what I would say is, okay, so let's revisit, people. I've given you what I currently earn. I am open, based on all you know about me to this point. Here's what I earn. I'm open to whatever fair offer that you would like to give me. And I'm sure that if, you feel I'm a good fit, you'll make me a fair offer. You don't have to accept the fair offer. You just need to get them to give you an idea of what they're thinking. And if they say, well, give me a ballpark, just say, look, whatever you think based on how I performed in the interviews. It's easier for you to react to a number than it is to give a number. If you are absolutely pressed, they are basically saying, we need a number from you. Then what I would do is I would say, I'm really open, but here's a number that I would absolutely accept without having to think about it. And you give them a number that's a little stretch higher than what you might be willing to accept, but what you've honestly told them is, this is my no-brainer number. You give me that, I will go and resign, or I will drop everything I'm doing, and here's my start date. And that's it. So that's how I would handle it. And by the way, I could go all day on this one issue, but I would strongly suggest that you watch the salary negotiation video because I go through all the steps of all the things you need to say, exactly how to say them in that video. So it's on the YouTube channel. So I hope that helps, buddy. Jeff, great. So if a few are listed in the job, yeah. So Jeff is asking a follow-up question to his question about the 6 to 8 core values for the organization, and he wanted to know which to focus on. And I said, make sure you're ready for all of them, and you should be. But if they've got, say, 3 of the 8 that are paramount for this particular position, then focus on those. All right, Kimberly R. Hey, Kimberly. Mr. LaCivita, I would like to know your advice for starting a new job that you're the owner of. My concern is how to update one's resume when you haven't gotten any clients yet. Okay, so Kimberly, quick question here, and maybe you can clarify this in the chat. I'm assuming what you mean is you are the owner of you are a consultant. If you are an owner of a business, so when I opened up Mile Walk, for example, so I obviously, by the way, everybody who opens up their own business has to have a first buyer or a first client or a first customer or whatever. You don't need to give them a resume. If you need marketing material, you need advertisements, you need other things of that nature. If you are and since I'm not sure, but if you are a contractor, meaning you opened up Kimberly R. and Associates or Kimberly R. Inc. or Kimberly R. LLC Group or whatever, or LLP or whatever you are, then what I would do is I don't think you need a particular resume, for example, as much as you might want to highlight your past experiences, your employers, your clients, or whatever it is, and you might want to tell your customers based on your clients, what it is that you need or what it is that they need, and highlight the places or the companies or the projects that you worked on that align you to what it is that they need. But if you can clarify for me what it is that you are doing, what business you're opening, then I'd be happy to add some additional color. All right, Michael Moody again on the negotiation, great advice, and I will check out the videos. You are welcome, buddy. And there's a lot of stuff out there that you can use. Anybody else? Hey, it's 11:45. I'd planned to go to 11:30. I'm glad there's a whole bunch of you still on here with me. If there's not anything else at the moment, here's what I would do. Check out the YouTube channel. Check out the Mile Walk Academy, which is my training site where I teach on all things careers related, personal development, those are for individuals, and hiring for employers. So loads of free stuff, lots of free content, lots of free videos, and all that good stuff. And not all of it's on YouTube, so some of it's in the Academy. Webinars, a lot of things that are available free, and there's some paid services there as well. And the other thing is, if you like this stream, give me a like, give me a comment, share this with your friends. You are my best source of finding new people to help. So I really would appreciate that. And until next week, you've got a video coming out at 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday. It's going to be about overcoming age discrimination. That is on Tuesday morning at 6:30. And next week, Thursday at 11 Central, I'm back here. And let me know if there are any additional questions or topics you want me to cover. And Kimberly, I will respond to you. I'm going to add that to the comments on the recording, and I will reply to you being an independent contractor. So until next week, everybody have a great one.